Wishbone, Wishbone, look at me. Wanna say hi? Hi everybody, this is Wishbone, and you're watching Gabby Gibson's channel.
And I'm Lulu, and you're watching it too. I'm gonna go this way. Bye everybody.
Everybody, how you doing tonight? Hope you're having a good night. So, I said a while back that I will be doing a video about one of my favorite movies, and that is tonight. So, we're going to talk about The Last Unicorn, the Enchanted Edition, and this is the most recent edition. It's been released by Shout Factory, who has also released Hey Arnold, the complete series. They also are in charge of releasing the DVDs related to the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic franchise. But this is the Enchanted Edition, and according to this, it has stunning new transfer and new bonus materials, and also the original uncut version. So, I hope you don't mind me geeking out about this movie because this is one of my favorite movies. But, yeah, I think you guys will enjoy it. So, what is The Last Unicorn about? Well, it is a fantasy novel written by Peter S. Beagle about a unicorn who wonders if she is the last of her kind. So she sets out on a quest to go and see if she can find the last remaining unicorns. Along the way, she meets a wizard by the name of Schmendrick, who, well, he's a good wizard, but then at the same time, the magic kind of comes and goes. But he's a very excellent friend to have along. In addition, we also meet Molly Grew, who is one of my favorite characters. I love Molly Grew. And then they finally make their way to the kingdom of King Haggard, whom it is rumored is responsible for all the unicorns disappearing. Before they actually meet King Haggard, they meet with his pet, I guess you could call it, the Red Bull. And the Red Bull tries to herd the unicorn into, well, the same way he took the others. So Schmendrick, in a moment of, I want to say almost inspired panic, turns her into a human. A very beautiful human girl. And, well, I'm not going to spoil too much, because some of you probably have never read the book or seen the film. But for those of you who have read the book and seen the film, well, you know what happens. So, The Last Unicorn, the film, was released in 1982 by the film studios of Rankin and Bass. Now, that sounds familiar. It should be, because without them, we wouldn't have the Christmas specials like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Frosty the Snowman, The Year Without a Santa Claus, those guys. And you may also know them for a little well-known animated series called Thundercats. Yep, those are the same people. They also did animated adaptations of The Hobbit and The Return of the King. Now, it's very interesting concerning that Peter S. Beagle wrote the screenplay for the Ralph Bakshi animated showings of The Fellowship of the Ring and The Two Towers. I'll talk about that in another video. So, in a way, it's interesting. So then, Peter S. Beagle came out with the book in the 70s, and by then the film was out. Then they optioned the film, and he wrote the screenplay. So, it's very close to the original book, with a few things here and there. But it was released in 1982, and an interesting fact that a lot of the Japanese animators who worked on that film would later go on to work for Studio Ghibli. I didn't know that until a couple years ago. But hey, you learn new things, right? So the film was optioned in 1982, and it has an amazing, amazing voice cast. It has Mia Farrow, who some of you may know from Rosemary's Baby, as the unicorn. And then it has Alan Arkin, the grandfather from Little Miss Sunshine, as Schmendrick the Wizard, Tammy Grimes as Molly Grew, and then, in a very unprecedented cameo, Angela Lansbury as the witch, Mummy Fortuna. And then there is the two other characters, Jeff Bridges as the voice of Prince Lear. Yes, that Jeff Bridges, the dude. And then, of course, my favorite actor, Christopher Lee, Sir Christopher Lee, may he rest in peace, as King Haggard. Now, here's a little interesting thing before we go on with this. At one point in time, they were planning to do a live-action version of The Last Unicorn. Peter S. Beagle was going to do the screenplay again. They were going to have the director, I think Ridley Scott at one point was attached to it, which makes sense, seeing as he did Legend. And Christopher Lee himself was going to reprise his original role as King Haggard, but I don't remember what happened, but it was a long time ago. But who knows, maybe one day there will be another live-action version of it. The Last Unicorn is very important to me because it's one of the first movies I ever remember watching on a repeated basis. My mom recorded it onto a VHS tape, which is still in my possession. We watched it constantly. I was always scared of the Red Bull, which I know probably a lot of you were scared of the Red Bull. Nightmare fuel, man. But it was a wonderful film. I guess it's because the imagery stuck with me. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it looks so much different than the stop-motion Christmas specials, and even from the animated the animated Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. It just has more of a what's a good word I'm looking for? It almost looks like a tapestry. In fact, in the opening credits, they talk about in the opening credits, it looks just like a tapestry that you would see in the Metropolitan Museum of Art, a medieval tapestry, mind you, and they kind of bring that back into the film as a whole, so it's absolutely gorgeous. That always stuck with me. And then, of course, the music. The music was composed by Jimmy Webb, and the songs are sung by the band America. And if you haven't heard of America, they did the song called Horse with No Name, been through the desert on the horse with no name. That's them. And that's also one reason why it stuck with me, the music. So, about middle school, I found out, me and my brother, well, sister at the time, found out that there was a book, and apparently the film was based off the book. So we bought the book at a Barnes & Noble in Auburn, Massachusetts during a family vacation in 2002. And to this day, I don't know why we didn't buy 2 copies. Maybe because they had only one. I don't know. So she read it first, and then I read it. And I was just blown away by Mr. Beagle's, by Mr. Beagle's prose. And not only that, he brings everything in there. He brings in the damsels in distress, the princes, the unicorns, and everything like that. And then, as a graduation present for myself, high school graduation present for myself, in 2007, I bought the DVD version of The Last Unicorn, and I loved it. Now, you noticed I said earlier that there was something called that on the Blu-ray, it's the original uncut version. Well, I'll explain why that is. By the way, this is Toothless the Dragon, everybody. So, the original uncut version, there's a scene in the movie where when Molly sees the unicorn for the first time, she says, "Damn you, where have you been?" Now, when I bought the DVD version back in 2007, it didn't have that at all. I mean, it just had like a "Where have you been?" And that's it. And there are a few other instances where, you know, the D word is used, and you could see why, maybe to sort of appeal to the younger generation, you know, they kind of cut that out. But in the Enchanted version, the Enchanted edition, it's there. It's there because it's a very important scene. You see, in some medieval lore, a unicorn would only appear to young virgins. In fact, in the book, there's even a mention of Schmendrick's mentor turning a male unicorn into a human to defeat these hunters that have come to kill him. So it kind of goes with that. And when Molly sees the unicorn in front of her, she's already, my guess is I would say she's in her 40s, maybe. She seems a lot older in the book. But in the film, I would guesstimate that she's in her 40s. She kind of married with this fellow, Captain Cuddy, a Robin Hood wannabe. And she pretty much is not the sort of person a unicorn would come to. So, sorry, Toothless had to go to sleep. He was falling asleep during the video. So, anyway, Last Unicorn is known for one big thing. The film company that did release it, a different film company, they didn't pay Peter S. Beagle enough of the royalties. So, what he decided to do was that he would talk against it, but he would still show the movie. And finally, my guess is that he found producers who were willing to produce the version that he wanted, and they were willing to give him the royalties for it, which is great, because he's really a fantastic writer. He's also done another favorite book of mine called Tamsin, and he's just wonderful. I think he's one of the best living fantasy writers that we have right now in the 20th, 21st century. I mean, there are several prolific fantasy writers. You have Tolkien, Lewis, you have R. Salvatore, you have Robert Jordan, Terry Pratchett, Neil Gaiman, George R. R. Martin, and then, but the most prolific, again, are Tolkien, C.S. Lewis, and Peter S. Beagle. And, again, they mesh, and, well, anyway, so they eventually released it, and then in 2012 there was a screening tour, and then I actually found out that he came here to Las Cruces, to one of the theaters downtown in Mesilla, which is about 10-15 minutes from my house. And there's a poster that has, so let's talk about the Blu-ray itself. I got the Blu-ray for my birthday a couple of weeks ago. Actually, it will have been, it will have been about, 3 weeks ago today. And this, again, is really great. So it has several bonus features. It has a brand new audio commentary, which it has Beagle, the producer of the original film, the host of the screening tour, and the producer of the other, two of the producers of this version. And I listened to it last night, and it actually is really great. Beagle talks about meeting fans. They talk about how they got the casting, how they got Jimmy Webb in America, and it really is a great commentary. So I suggest that if you can, unless you're somebody who knows the soundtrack like by heart, like me, you should check out the commentary. However, if you if you don't know all the dialogue and everything like that, I would recommend watching it through like that and then watching the commentary. Now, there are some that I haven't checked out yet. For example, there's something called True Magic: The Story of the Last Unicorn. My guess is that it's behind the scenes. They probably talk to Peter S. Beagle. Maybe they talk to some of the cast members. I'm not really sure. I haven't I haven't watched that. I've only seen the commentary. Then there's highlights from the worldwide screening tour that I just mentioned a few minutes ago. And I had a friend of mine who actually he found a clip for me of the screening tour, and it looks like it was a lot of fun. I mean, Mr. Beagle looked like he was really enjoying himself, and I think people who are fans of the book and of the film enjoyed themselves too. So there's that. Then there is animated storyboards, which probably means it's showing certain scenes as they were in storyboard form. Now, I like looking at stuff like that because you see what a finished scene in the film looked like in the rough stages. In a lot of the Disney DVDs, Blu-rays, there's a lot of animated storyboards. So I haven't seen that yet. And then of course there's the original theatrical trailer. I'm going to link to the original theatrical trailer in the comments below or at the end of this video. Well, probably at the end of this video. Now, one thing they talk about is a stunning new transfer. And I have to tell you, it is amazing. I mean, the images are so crisp and clear now. I mean, things that I saw from the previous editions and from the video edition of the movie, it's so crisp and clear. The colors are brighter. The images jump at you right now. In fact, when the Red Bull appears for the first time, it almost looks like he's going to jump out of the screen and charge right at you in your bedroom. So it was amazing. And the sound is beautiful. It's definitely amazing. You can definitely hear the music a lot better. The subtitles are top notch, and pretty much it's just a great addition of the movie. So what rating would I give the Enchanted edition? Well, I would say I will give it 10 out of 10 stars. Because honestly, I think this is one of the best versions of the film. It's the one that's most concise, and again, the images are clear, the music sounds amazing, and it makes me happy that there's something like this now that I can just enjoy it again and again. Now, for those of you who don't have a Blu-ray player, of course, naturally, there's a DVD. It is a Blu-ray DVD combo, although with the way technology is going these days, I don't think they're going to have those very much anymore. But it was on Amazon, so you can check there. You could probably even check Walmart or Barnes & Noble. I would say Hastings, but they don't exist anymore. But yeah, any video store that could, or, online, eBay, Craigslist, well, maybe not Craigslist, but yeah, just check to see where you can find it. Now, I have to talk about one favorite scene. Well, I have a lot of them. But one favorite scene that I have in the movie, and this is a spoiler alert, for those of you who haven't seen the movie yet, read the book, you might want to put this video on mute now. In about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In the movie, the unicorn has already been turned into a woman. She goes by the name of the Lady Amalthea, and she and Schmendrick and Molly end up staying at Hagrid's castle. Schmendrick becomes Hagrid's court magician, and Molly becomes, well, the housekeeper. And Amalthea she's a lady of the court, so she doesn't really do anything. And Lear falls in love with her, and he tries to do all these great things. He tries to cut off the head of a dragon. He tries to fight a troll, things like that. Although we don't really see it on screen, except for when he fights the dragon. So he becomes a hero for her sake. And it's after she has a nightmare that she meets Lear trying to compose love poetry and doing kind of horrible at it. So he says, "Trouble me, please, trouble me. I would court you with more grace if I knew how, but please." And I love that line. So she tells him to just, you know, take her mind off of everything. Whatever it is she's trying to remember. She's trying to remember the reason she came to the castle in the first place, which was to find the other unicorns. So he starts to sing a song, which I think is one of the most beautiful songs there is on the soundtrack. It's called That's All I've Got to Say. I'm going to put a annotation to it in at the end of the video. And it's just absolutely beautiful, and the imagery that happens in the song is just amazing. And I guess it's because I'm kind of a hopeless romantic. It's a beautiful song. And who knew Jeff Bridges could sing? I didn't. So for those of you who saw him singing in that movie where he played the country star, he's sung before. So yeah, you have to give it a listen. It's one of my favorites, and of course in the Blu-ray, it's done wonderfully. And one thing I would like to do when I meet Jeff Bridges myself, I would like to tell him that I love him as Prince Lear, and I love him singing that song. And maybe I would sing it for him. I don't know. So there you have it, my review of The Last Unicorn. So again, I give it 10 out of 10 stars, and I look forward to watching this over and over again, and feeling like the first time I watched it again and again. So that's it for this video. If there's anything you want me to review, let me know in the comments down below. As I said in my last video, I'm going to be doing a review with my brother Christian Berlante. I'll put the link to his channel in the description. We're going to be reviewing Fern Gully, The Last Rainforest. Now, we're not interviewing the DVD itself, which it is out on DVD. We're just interviewing the movie. But it's a movie he and I both love, and we've been wanting to do something like this together for a long time. So, we're also going to be doing a video for his channel. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet because I want it to be a surprise. But again, if there's something you want me to review, or, you know, what other videos would you like me to do, just let me know in the comments below. Like this up, and on that note, good night. Cheers. By the way, this is water with strawberry lemonade. It's not wine. Besides, it's Thursday. I don't usually drink wine on Thursdays.